Let's take a look at some calculations in Econ that you will need to know for chapters 3 and 4. The first one is marginal utility. Keep in mind that marginal utility is defined in the change of utility, that's the change in a customer satisfaction, as consumption of a good is increased by 1 unit. So I give you the number of sodas and I give you the total utility. What I want to determine is what is the marginal utility between 3 and 5 units. So you want to take the difference in the utility divided by the difference in the quantity. So between 3 and 5 units, there's a difference of 2 units and a difference in utility of 1. So let's take a look at that as a formula. So that would be 21 minus 20, our difference in utility, 5 minus 3, the difference of 2, the number of sodas. That gives us then 1 divided by 2, or 0.5, is the marginal utility. Now let's take a look at what the marginal utility is between 5 and 8 units. Okay, between 5 and 8 units is going to be a difference of 3 units. And between 37 and 21 is a difference of 16. So let's look at that as a formula. So our formula will be 37 minus 21 divided by 8 minus 5, or in other words 16 divided by 3. So our marginal utility between 5 and 8 cans of soda is 5.33. Now in the last example, total utility was given. In the second example, we are going to calculate the total utility of 2 different products, but we're going to have 3 different bundle options. Keep in mind that total utility is defined as the total satisfaction derived from consuming a bundle of goods and services. So let's say in bundle A, we're going to have 3 sodas and 6 hamburgers. Or bundle C, we'll have 5 sodas and 7 hamburgers. Or bundle B, we'll have 8 sodas and 10 hamburgers. Okay, let's multiply them out is all we have to do. 18, 5 times 7 is 35, and 8 times 10 is 80. So therefore, the bundle that gives us the highest total utility is bundle B. We would want 8 sodas and 10 hamburgers. Next, let's talk about consumer surplus and how to calculate it. Consumer surplus is defined as a measure of the savings achieved by consumers at the current market price from the price which they've been willing to pay for a specific quantity of a good or service. So let's take a look at, and let's assume that the customer is going to pay $6. Okay? At $6, that means they would be willing to buy a quantity of 5. So the demand curve implies that they're willing to pay $10 for the first unit, because the first unit comes up to about $10. Okay, $9 for the second unit, because 2 units come up to 9. Okay, and again, buying 6 units, they're willing to pay $5. Now let's determine the level of the surplus. Okay, we're going to draw a box around it. Okay, so notice that we have a box. So the surplus is everything above the $6, the amount that it's going to sell for, up to the $11, which is the amount where they would buy 0 units. Because remember, they would buy 1 unit for $10. But once it got up to $11, they would buy 0 units. So we're going to put that into a box. Keeping in mind at $6, they are buying 5 units. Now, it's pretty easy then to put that into a formula, taking the height times the width of that area, but dividing it by 2 because we're just doing this blue triangle area. That's our surplus. So our formula is to take the height times the length and then divide it by 2. Okay, so our height is the price of $6 all the way up to 11, the amount it gets to before they buy 0. Okay, so the height of our red box will be the 11 minus 6, okay, or that would be 5. And then the length of the box is the quantity of 5. So in other words, it'll be 5 times 5, that gives you 25, divided by 2. So the surplus is $12.50. And that's all there is to calculating the consumer surplus. Now, this information here that I'm looking at comes from the lecture PowerPoints, so feel free to pull those up and look at them to see what the diagrams are. Let's talk for a moment about consumer equilibrium. When we have a budget constraint, we may have only a maximum amount that we can spend on buying a product. So consumer equilibrium is defined as the consumption bundle, or in other words, how much we would buy of each product. Say we have 2 different products that we want to buy, that maximizes the total utility. So the combination of the 2 products together would maximize our total utility. So it may be 3 tacos and 5 hamburgers. So when we divide the marginal utility of the hamburger divided by the price of the hamburger, and that equals the marginal utility of the tacos divided by the price of the tacos, that is our equilibrium. That will tell us then how many tacos to hamburgers we should buy for our maximum total utility. Now, if you take the marginal utility of the hamburgers and divide it by the price of the hamburgers, and compare that to the marginal utility of the taco divided by the price of the taco, if, for example, the number comes out to be higher for the hamburger, that means you have a higher utility for the hamburger, and the consumer would buy more hamburgers. However, if the number for the tacos, when you divide the marginal utility by the price, comes out higher than the hamburger, then that means you buy more tacos. When the 2 are equal, that's when you have an equilibrium. Again, this is in the PowerPoints that are available for Chapter 4 lecture, so feel free to look at those. And this should help you in completing assignment number 2.